Like Toby mentioned, our mission at Shopify is to empower the creatives. And there's nothing more creative than the online store. From day one, entrepreneurs of all shapes and sizes have used the code that you've made as theme developers to build their home on the internet. And to date, we've seen some really amazing digital storefronts. Today, I'm going to show you the biggest and boldest upgrade we've ever shipped to the online store. Our goal is to give more power to developers while making it even easier for merchants to leverage that power and build their storefront. It's such a big platform upgrade that we called it simply Online Store 2.0. To start, let's take a look at the 3 areas of the online store that have been rebuilt and reimagined. The first is themes and the editor. This is where merchants go to configure and build their store's design. The second is store content. This is what populates that store design with the shop's stories. Hint, you're going to see a lot of meta fields in your future. And the third is developer tooling. We're giving you some great ways to be more productive and some new platform features for when you're building a theme or an app for the online store. Okay, let's get to it and jump into themes. In this new world of Online Store 2.0, themes are now completely modular and composed of reusable sections. Think of them like an online store's Lego blocks. Merchants can take these sections and use them to build their own online store. This gives merchants the ability to arrange their store design however they want without having to know or touch code once. In order to make all of this possible, we had to change the way themes were structured. Let's look deeper into what exactly makes up these new themes. You'll notice that templates play a big role now. They define everything from the structure of a page to how each setting is configured. And now all of a theme's liquid code is contained completely within sections. You can also add multiple template files, which then map to different products or different collections. And yes, these templates are available across the online store, which means that sections are now everywhere. At its core, sections are chunks of liquid code with some handy setting options. But if we look a little closer, they can also contain an array of blocks. These blocks further break up a section and are themselves configurable chunks of liquid. They're really powerful because they give merchants an even more granular way of customizing the layout of their store. Let's see this all in action in the new theme editor. The template picker is front and center in the new editor, and you'll see that I have multiple templates per page. Let's switch to the product page, and as you can see here, I have a default template, but let's go ahead and create a new template specifically for all of my bags. Every section of this new template is managed in this new sidebar, which makes it really easy for me to navigate as I edit this page. And since this template is for handbags, let's add a section to show the bag's dimensions and materials. Notice these handy sub-items in the navigation? Those are blocks that I mentioned before. You can add them, reorder them, and configure them independently. And so just by dragging and dropping, I can add some care instructions to my page. Okay, so we've added some sections, we've added some blocks to this page, but this is going to look pretty bland if we don't have the right content. So let's jump into store content. We want to make sure that you can store whatever data that you want to display on the online store within Shopify. And so alongside Online Store 2.0, we're also shipping a major update to meta fields. Not only can you define and edit meta fields now directly in the admin, but we've also shipped a way to bind data sources to sections directly in the editor. So now there's no more hard coding meta fields into themes. You're going to really like this. Let's add a custom image with embedded sizing to this section. From within the settings panel, I can now create a new meta field definition using a new set of types. We've added new types like color, Boolean, URLs. I can also add validation and descriptions so that I can make sure that whatever is being entered is in the right format. Now that I've added this new meta field definition to my products, My team can access it right from within the product page whenever they're entering product information. I want to pause here for a minute because what we just did was pretty major. This ability to add new attributes to products really changes the way that data can be stored inside of Shopify. Now, you can host data of any format inside of one platform. Meta fields are going to be a really important part of Shopify going forward. Stay tuned for more support for more types and arrays later this year. But while I have you, why don't I give you a sneak peek of something else we're working on? This meta fields infrastructure not only lets you extend your Shopify models, but it'll also power a new content management platform. We know that content is super important when it comes to expressing a shop's brand. And so soon, you'll be able to create entirely new custom types modeled using meta fields. You'll be able to create content once and publish it to all of your channels, including the online store. And because this content is already in Shopify, it can be easily connected to other parts of the platform. And if you're already using a CMS, great. We'll be looking to work with partners in the industry to make it easy to integrate. That's enough for now, but we'll have more to share on this later this year. Okay, back to the demo. Switching to the editor, you'll notice these handy little data icons on all of my section settings. Those let me connect the meta field we just created to this part of the section. All right, after that, we're done. Now each product using this template will show the right dimensions automatically. And to bring everything full circle, this is one template that we've built for our handbags, but with the editor and sections and blocks, it's super easy and simple to make more. I can configure one for my shoes or one for all the apparel products. And each template is tailored to the type of product it's displaying. And it's not just the products page. It's pages, collections, all of these parts of the online store now have templates. And all of these are parts that a merchant can customize. Now that you've seen all the pieces we're giving you to tell a great story on the online store, I want to introduce you to one of the best storytellers on the internet and one of the earliest adopters of Online Store 2. We've all gotten to know them really well over the last year, Netflix. A couple weeks ago, Netflix launched their new store, Netflix.shop. And whether it's their anime collection or the newest Lupin page, they wanted to make sure that every part of their store told a good story. They also wanted to be able to create these pages really fast because you never know when another Bridgerton series is going to take off. And so now the Netflix team can use sections and blocks to configure a template for a new product drop without needing to fiddle with code. Okay, so let's switch gears for a minute and talk about apps. Apps provide a lot of functionality to the online store, and so we've intentionally carved out a way for them to work in this new world. I'm happy to announce the new theme app extension. With Online Store 2, a theme is now a set of separate components, and this separation makes it possible for us to let apps contribute their own sections and blocks without having to touch a theme's code. So let's see this in action. Here's a new example app that adds product reviews to the shop using app blocks. Before Online Store 2, I would have had to open the theme editor and add code directly into the theme. It's super intimidating if you don't know how to code, and it sticks around even after the app's been uninstalled. So now, instead, apps can contribute Liquid in the form of their own app blocks. When an app is installed on a store, any app blocks that they've declared are automatically available in the theme editor. Depending on how you set up an app block, it can either be dragged in line or auto-injected in the head or the body of a page. This is super handy if you're building an app that needs to inject a script or injecting a chat widget. Under the covers, a theme app extension is structured a lot like a miniature theme. We have a folder containing all of our blocks, but you see these other handy folders, assets and snippets? It's all part of a new packager that allows you to ship everything, including Liquid and assets, in one single repo, and all of it's managed by the platform. Using this extension, your app's liquid code and assets will be served using the same infrastructure that serves our online store today. This is going to be the future of how apps augment themes, and it's going to be a lot better than script tags or the Assets API. And so get ready, in the future, we're going to be deprecating script tags. App blocks are the way of the future. Okay, that was a lot, but we still have a lot more to come. Aside from this theme extension, we're also building a bunch of liquid improvements to make sure that your themes are going to be as fast as possible. I'd like to welcome Martina to talk about some liquid improvements and some awesome new developer tools.
We just heard about all the new features coming to the online store, but how does it all come together in how you build a theme? Meet Dawn. Dawn is our first open source theme available to all of you today, right now on GitHub. It includes all the features that Vanessa just shared, like sections, templates, and meta fields. But it's so much more than that. It's also a new reference for how to build fast and beautiful e-commerce experiences on the web. So let's take a look at how we built it. Dawn was built using 4 principles. First, it's built for modern browsers. We estimate that 90% of visitors to Shopify stores are using an evergreen browser. And since evergreen browsers auto-update to the latest version, it means that its users have access to all the latest features. So instead of using polyfills and external libraries to create pixel-perfect fallbacks, we focused on semantic markup with HTML and CSS to create functional experiences for 100% of browsers. By using progressive JavaScript, we focused on the browser's latest capabilities to enhance the layout and experience of the theme. By using features like web components and custom HTML elements, we were able to easily use JavaScript to improve the functionality and accessibility of a feature. And for browsers that don't support these latest features, it means that customers can still use Dawn to find products and check out. Dawn's second principle focused on creative visual design. Through the process of progressive enhancement, we paired a lot with our design team to create the best possible experience for customers. Specifically, we focused on improving features that directly impact the purchase flow. So things like collection filtering, product variant pickers, price clarity, and navigation. By building themes for the modern web, it means that we can still support non-evergreen browsers without having to compromise on world-class e-commerce UX. Third, we want to create lean and maintainable themes. So we're continuously updating the core functionality of the platform and the APIs to write less code. One way that we've done this is with the cart API. Now, you can just request that it returns rendered sections along with its usual response. By making this change, we are able to reduce the number of lines of code needed to handle cart updates in JavaScript from a couple hundred to just under 20. And finally, performance was top of mind with every decision we made. In the past, we might have had to exchange feature functionality for performance. But with Dawn, we were able to ensure that we built a great theme that was also really fast by default. We've been making changes to how we build themes, but we've also been making a lot of improvements to the developer tools we use to build them. Let's bring in Colin to pair with me. He's been working on performance and developer tooling, and we want to show you how it all works. Hey, Colin.
Hey, Martina. So along with Dawn, we've been building a bunch of new tools to make theme developers more productive. We're releasing a full Git integration for theme development, and we've extended the Shopify CLI to enable faster iteration. This will give you a powerful CI integration, better VS Code feedback, and a lot of other capabilities. So let's take a look. So Martina, I was looking at the Dawn's code, specifically the collections page, and I noticed that the content is jumping around on page, and it's impacting the Lighthouse cumulative layout scores. Let's fix this together.
Sounds good. So if I were a new dev on the team, the first thing I do is go to my dev shop and connect it to my Git repo. And I can do this all from within the admin. And at the same time, I'd also go ahead and import and publish the main branch.
Now this makes it handy so you can use all of the Git tools that you have for themes now, and your publish shop will be updated with all the latest commits.
Yeah, exactly. And now that I've connected my shop to Git, I'm going to go ahead and clone the repo and start setting up my Shopify CLI. It's really easy. All I need to do is log in and run Shopify ThemeServe to start up my local sandbox. And Colin, before you ask, yes, getting yourself set up with this new tooling is actually this fast.
Amazing. Yeah, now that you're all set up, let's take a look at that collections page.
Before we do that, let's go ahead and run theme check to see if it spots any obvious linting or performance issues. So it looks like it's identified an issue related to the images on the product card, and it's recommending that we add the height and width attributes. There's even some documentation that tells us why it's important to add these attributes to help prevent cumulative layout shifting. So I think that this should fix our collection page issue.
All right, that's great. But now I'm noticing that the images aren't the right size anymore.
You're totally right. Thanks for pointing that out. I think because of the change we just made, we also need to add a height of 100% to our images now.
I love that instant feedback in the browser as we make those changes.
I know, right? Isn't it great?
But while we're here, I also see that we're loading the lazy sizes JavaScript library. We can replace that with image loading equals lazy, since modern browsers support this as a standard feature now.
That's a great point. I'll go ahead and make that change, and then we can create our PR.
All right, that looks good. Let's check the CI to make sure the Lighthouse scores have improved. We have it configured to use the Shopify CLI to spin up the ephemeral sandbox to run performance tests with Lighthouse, and we can use web page tests to integrate our own browser-based test if we wanted.
Yeah, and it looks like all of our tests are passing, so I say we ship it. And now that it's merged, my Dev Store's published theme will be updated with all of the latest changes, because earlier we linked our Dev Store to our main branch.
Right on. Well, thanks, Martina, for all the help.
No problem.
As you can see, we're passionate about performance. We know that store speed is critical to drive higher sales and conversion. And we see this in our data too. On average, if you improve the speed of the first page that the buyer sees by 10%, we see a 7% increase in conversion. Those first impressions really matter. But there's a lot that goes into building a fast store, and you aren't alone in helping improve the performance for that every merchant. Last year, we talked about our new Storefront Rendering engine. And today, I'm really proud to announce that all of Shopify stores are operating on this new engine. And thanks to this, we've been able to increase the rendering speed 5 times. And with our increased edge deployment, we're now within 100 kilometers of every buyer around the world. Storefront Render was just one of the many investments our engineering teams have made on the platform to make it fast and can scale to any event. In 2020, our platform almost doubled its monthly sessions, and Storefront Render was able to help create a consistent human experience every time. We believe that the faster that you can build, the faster you can get that feedback, the easier it will be for you to create better, faster experiences.
So let's do a quick recap of everything that you just saw. There's a new theme editor featuring templates, sections, and blocks, a new update to meta fields, and to wrap it all up, a set of developer tools for this new platform. And the best part is, all of this is available right now. Create a dev shop, clone the Dawn theme, and you can visit shopify.dev for some great tutorials. But everything that we just talked about is ready for you to play with. And of course, merchants will only be able to take advantage of all of these new features if you create new Online Store 2 themes and apps. And so to help you out, we've opened up the theme store to new submissions on July 15th. Stay tuned for some really cool new features coming to the theme store later this summer. We call this Online Store 2.0 because this release marks such a huge milestone for Shopify. It changes the way merchants express themselves on the internet, and we can't wait to see what you build. Let's go.